Good morning, everybody. This Buddy here in Midland. Uh, I was going through my comments that on my YouTube channel, and I saw one that I've seen before. A woman had asked for, said she's interested and wanted the history, and and uh, and that's a fair question. This is a super long story. These crimes have gone on for years. You know that the amount of evidence is I said it the other day, it'd take 8 hours if I made a video showing all the evidence I have. It's just an absurd amount of blatant public corruption, in your face, criminalities going on here. And but so this video I want to talk about the history. And so one thing I want to start here is here I started this YouTube channel, and it looks like in August 2012, and so far here I'm about 848,000 views, and probably double that on Facebook, and so I'm probably at 2 or 3 million views. But that hasn't been enough to put pressure on law enforcement to enforce the law, to make the arrests that need to stop these crimes. Because I mean, just the fact that here I'm ambushed and shot, burglar alarms going off, I've identified homeowners all over the country reporting people in the attic, all over Midland, Odessa reporting people in the attic. Same thing I was reporting a year before I was ambushed and shot, and nothing's changed. I mean, the crimes are still being committed against me. Death threats. I barely survived a premeditated murder attempt, and nothing has changed. And so here, the other thing I want to show you, as of this video, it'll be my 800 video. So that's understandable when somebody tries to go to my channel and they're just looking, golly, look at all these videos. And so I try to keep them short, 30 minutes or less, and make it easier for people, and you just can't tell the whole story in a 30-minute video. What I've been doing here on, and sometimes I get behind, is on the new video, and these are sorted by what's posted the latest. And I'm just going to show you some things here on my YouTube channel. On the sort by, you click your sort by, and I can change it to most popular. Okay, and that when I change it there, and y'all can do this yourself, then you can see this. Oh, this one right here has got 41,000 views. Okay, so that might be something you might be interested in. Midland, Texas Secret Police, 26,000 views. That's why I say they're world famous. Posted 3 years ago, And then interesting, like Sheriff Painter's Hideout, it's only 6 months old, and it's right there. It's the number 6 most watched video I got, And so that's also a interesting video. Sheriff candidate here in Midland, we had a race for our sheriff, and one of the candidates, I was secretly recording him, and he tells me that our last sheriff, the late Gary Painter, these underground homes here was the hideout for Gary Painter. So I've suspected that Painter might have been at the oil show parties, because my friend that was there, that told me about the young girl that was murdered, was afraid to report it and said high-level police were there. And that sheriff might have been one of the Painter, might have been at the oil show parties. And of course, these are, it's an international convention, oil show, with millionaires, billionaires there, so it makes sense. You're going to have some corrupt police involved in the secret facility, and the crimes that go along with that, to allow that or whatever. Here's another big one. Number 7 is a Haley Dunn murder confession, and that one was 4 years ago. I made many more Haley Dunn videos now. Anyway, that just shows you that playlist up here. And I don't have that many, but some of these are helpful for anybody that's really want to dig and get the research. One I suggested today to this woman was this one, Midland, Texas Tunnels and Crime. And when you click on it, there's 5 videos in there. They're all listed over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And these 5 here, even like this part 1, it's had 24,000 views by itself, and it was posted in 2015. And then I've taken clips of them videos and then made them into separate videos, like the rape and murder. You've seen it on the top row. That's a clip out of one of them Midland, Texas tunnels and crimes, and there's several of them like that. So I mean, altogether, that was core videos back in the beginning in 2015. I made them 5 videos, and so that's real good history stuff. The secret police one, that was a radio interview I did on the internet or whatever. Tunnels and attics, interesting. But the one here, the most recent one's attic investigations, and I think that one's a real good one, real important one, because basically I have all these addresses. A lot of them are from police scanners, people calling me, writing me, telling me of other homes where the homeowner reported some in the attic, and I believe them homes are probably rigged like my home, where there's a tunnel put in from a neighbor's house over to that house, and then they rigged a wall where they made a hidden crawl space. And actually, my video yesterday was talking about that hidden crawl space up in the attic. That allows them to come and go without being seen all they want. Okay, and so what I did in attic investigations is I looked up, the homeowner had reported something in the attic, and then I looked up their 2 neighbors on both sides, and that wasn't making accusations. It's just, I wonder if it was this neighbor, I wonder if it's that neighbor. Oh, look here, look here, that guy, he's the one that found Haley Dunn's remains 2 days after, I suggested to the Department of Justice they come look in the underground homes. That was actually one of them on Dartmouth Street. I come to find out Curtis Lloyd was the next door neighbor of one of them homes where the owner was reporting people in the attic. So anyway, it's basically, here's a Haley Dunn one, and I'll just show you the playlist. Okay. What this is about is the history, and so the easiest thing in the history is I've been trying to pin this comment right here: tunnels and underground facilities in Midland, Texas. And I wrote this, and I've sent this to many people, emailed it, messaged it. Our mayor has got it, or the Sheriff Kreiner has gotten this, and that just gives the history. And then at the end of it, I put links to what I think are some core videos showing the evidence, and then once if anybody, especially if you're law enforcement, because the average layman, they don't have no responsibility. If I tell you, there's a group of people breaking in homes, killing people, well, it's not their job to do anything about it. But if you're the mayor of the city, or you're the sheriff, or you're the chief of police, or you're the city council, then it is your job. You have duty. It's called duty. You have a responsibility to the safety of the citizens to do something about it. And these are fact-filled evidence. Video. I believe using these videos and then law enforcement doing an investigation should lead to arrest and make our city safer. Let me get started on this, because that's what this video is about. Tunnels and underground facilities in Midland, Texas. This was recently shared with the new Sheriff Kreiner. I had also contacted Chief of Police Herman, Texas Rangers, FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Attorney General, along with the mayor and city council, plus many other local, state, and national news agencies. I transferred to Midland in 2008 with a large oil company as a 25-year employee, and I buy a home where the young previous owner had just died. I've since found evidence which has convinced me that he was murdered here. This happened before the week of the 2008 Permian Basin International Oil Show, which I believe is important. And that's Mike Lawhon, the previous owner of my home. I have videos about that. In 2010, my friend at work told me about a young girl that was murdered at a large party going on during the week of the oil show because she had refused to prostitute. I have reason to believe this murder happened in some underground facilities said to be near my home. These wild parties were put on by wealthy oil-filled people are infamous. Everybody from this part of the country knows about them. And I didn't put it here, but in 2013, the remains of a 14 to 21-year-old girl was found outside of Midland. I believe that is this girl, and I believe these parties happened in the underground home said by many people to be near my home. In January 2012, I reported suspected smuggling tunnel to the DEA that I believe was going from my home in Midland to a nearby trucking lane behind the Home Depot store where I was seeing suspicious trucker traffic. Since then, I was told by two store employees that prostitution was going on behind their store, and I saw a young girl at the sleeper cab of an 18-wheeler while driving by one day. I suspected child sex trafficking, the fastest growing crime in America. And it looks like this home here was rigged, and they were running a 24/7 sex trafficking business out of it in coordination with these truckers who were coming and going 24/7, middle of the night, holidays, store wasn't open, nobody's there. These truckers are coming, staying a little bit, and leaving. It could also be running drugs too, human trafficking, etc. Most of that stopped once they took a live tree out, and there's videos about that too. 2 weeks later, my phone lines were cut and somebody under my home shoots me. I crawled out on my hands and knees to survive this murder attempt. When I returned from the hospital and now crippled for life, I found pictures of people dressed like police at my home that I couldn't identify because the police report was withheld from me. I nicknamed them the Secret Police and offered a $2,000 reward. This was the first time in the history of America that a crime victim has offered a reward to identify police. And, and that is just how absurd and huge this is. And just in your face public corruption, A few weeks before this murder attempt, the ex-wife tells me with 100% sincerity, the secret is that a group of doctors are killing people for profit. What she didn't tell me was her brother-in-law was a doctor, and come to find out, he was the ER doctor on the night that I was shot. Triple proof shows they faked my x-rays at the hospital by taking the x-rays of a guy suspected of being shot 11 days before me and then putting my name on them. This other guy was missing his heel bone, so they cut my heel bone off. This was done because they were claiming that I'd shot myself when that's not what happened. Absolute proof has been found showing this, okay? And so it's not even up for argument. You can't argue the fact. 6 years of death threats, slander, repeated break-ins in my home, and many people asking, suggesting, ordering me to sell my home and move go by before the 11 secret police were identified by a private investigator. This crime ring has been trying to terrorize me into selling my home at the price they set, of course. When I fell to the ground, all I had was this crazy story of people breaking into my attic and somebody under my home shooting me. But now I have proof that I wasn't shot with my gun, proof of many other homeowners in Midland, Odessa, Texas, and other states reporting somebody in the attic, and proof of many people saying that tunnels and or underground facilities are near my home. I secretly recorded a woman on the phone who told me there were 4 3-bedroom underground homes here that were 25 foot deep, and each of them cost over $1 million. She told me they were having pedophile parties in these underground homes. This is posted to my YouTube channel. That phone call is. Another woman told me that she worked on this underground project, which was finished in 1987 while Bush was vice president. The Bushes are from Midland and were in the oil field business. She said the total project cost was $7.35 million. I have a screenshot of her telling me this. She called the project Safe Houses. A guy named Ricky Ronaldo told me that he used to live in my home and him and his brother used to go in the tunnels under it. I have a screenshot of him saying it. A woman named Rhonda Denman Rogers tells me that underground facility is a half block away, and I have a screenshot of her saying this. She didn't say it was 1.5 blocks. She knew exactly where it was. All of this is not Buddy said, they said. I recorded people. I screenshotted them. I have proof that they said these. And there's multiple people saying there's underground homes and tunnels here. A few months ago, a woman told me to go look up my address at 3802 Fair Circle on Google Maps, and I see a large facility in my backyard on the block map that can't be seen from above ground. Google historical map shows what looks like a large tunnel ditch was cut coming out from the back of Home Depot aimed directly at my home. Anybody can see this right now. You can just go to Google Maps, look up 3802 Fair Circle, Midland, Texas, and look at my backyard. Just switch between the map screen and the satellite screen, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Earlier this year, I found out there was a police report all along, but the names on it don't match the names provided by the private investigator, nor do they match the timestamps on the cameras. 2 of the law enforcement officers seen, Naylor and Simpson, both died within 2 months of each other, and their names were not found on this heavily falsified police report. All of their names are posted online. Now, keep that in mind. I'm going to keep reading. 5 police officers, Davis, Dickey, Chatwell, Angel, and Hale, were listed as being at or in my home, but they were not seen arriving on the front security cameras, and this told me they were under my home. It's suspected they were at an underground party, and very possibly one of them was the shooter, aka would-be killer. Additional evidence was found showing that I'd unknowingly trapped a burglar in my home on this day. And that's the irony there. I had been reporting burglaries to the police, and it looks like it might have been some police under my home that tried to murder me during a burglary. Okay, because these police were working with these criminals that are breaking in the homes, rigging the homes for the burglary, theft, and murder, and that's why nobody's getting arrested, and that's why the public doesn't even know about all these rigged homes. All these owners reporting people in the attic. Not all things are known, but the facts are the facts, and we can be sure that tunnels and underground facilities are. We can be sure that I didn't shoot myself, and it's not my word against their word. I have the security camera pictures, the videos, the police reports, the medical records, ballistic evidence, screenshot, and recorded conversations posted online. You know, that's where people will show me the proof. I have so much proof. It's just to the point of absurdity. Okay, here's some of the videos that I felt like was important to put in here, that anybody interested in this story, and you should be, because it has to do with, you know, your safety, should be interested. And we need to get this crime ring stopped. People in the attic. Okay, that's the name of the video. I reported people in my attic in 2011. A year later, I was shot with burglar alarm squad in my attic. Now, homeowners all over are documented reporting people in the attic. It's widespread racketeering of burglary, theft, and murder. And that video, many of them are police scanner calls, right from the police scanner. It's owners. My family's sitting out in the front yard. We smelled, we heard somebody in the attic, and they're up there smoking cigarettes, And that was one of the calls. There's just a ton of them, The suspected murder of Mike Lawhon. This video talks about the evidence found, which seems to show the young homeowner who lived here before me was murdered the week before the 2008 oil show. Mike died a couple weeks before I transferred to town. And I think that's important, since it's believed that underground home in the backyard was used for the oil show parties, and he died the week before the 2008 oil show started, with conflicting statements of where he died at. And other evidence has convinced me he was killed here and taken to Fort Worth. That's an interesting video, important. 2010 oil show party murder. A friend told me about a young girl who was murdered at a party going on during the oil show, and a year later, the remains of a young girl were found. It's believed this happened in the $1 Million underground home, said to be near my home. She was leaving my home and at the party in 5 minutes, and I really think what she's doing was driving around the Home Depot parking lot, parking there. The excuse they were telling people is, if you see a lot of cars in the parking lot later at night, it was stalking. And they were going underground somewhere in that store, coming back over here in a ditch, in a tunnel that you could see from Google Maps. And then in my backyard is one of the $4 million underground homes. And that's where I believe these parties were going on, and where that young girl was murdered. Okay. During the commission of a felony. This video talks about the burglar trapped in my guest bathroom on the day that was ambushed and shot by somebody under my home. Okay. And so evidence was found showing that I had I had recognized somebody had been in my home again. I've been reporting these crimes for over a year. So I got this idea to tie wire my spare door shut. And what happened was I trapped a burglar and didn't know it. So that was a dire situation for the criminals, because, here I'm on the other side of the door with a gun and every right to protect my life and property. They're breaking into a private home, And of course they had a dozen corrupt police helping them break into private homes, and so instead of arresting the criminal, the burglar, right, it looks like they decided to murder me inside my home, and that's why it's suspected them 5 police officers that were at my home without being seen arriving, come from under my home, might have been the ones that shot me. So the reason it's called during the commission of felony, it becomes a capital crime when you do attempted murder during the commission of a felony. And the felony is the burglary of a habitation. I had been reporting burglaries. And see, for when they bust this crime ring that's rigged all these other homes for burglary, then it becomes real clear it was a burglary at my home, and then I was shot during a burglary, and that makes it a capital crime. So then let's say it was police, which it believed it is, then they might be looking at life in prison, rightfully so, because they know the law. Though I didn't tell them to go help people to break in homes and steal and kill. They made that choice on their own. How to get away with murder. His video shows the room from where I shot and evidence showing the lies that were told to cover up somebody under my home shoot me. So this video right here is a fact-filled video, evidence-filled video showing the proof, showing that I wasn't shot with my gun. Because when I prove I wasn't shot with my gun, I proved that somebody else shot me. And that means they shot me from 2 inches above ground level 2 weeks after I reported suspected tunnel to the DEA, and now multiple people are saying underground homes and tunnels are here. Obviously, somebody under my home shot me, and once again we're back to 5 police officers are inside my home, and they wasn't seen arriving on the cameras that seen Woodward and Naylor just minutes earlier. That means they came from under my home. It looks like cops that tried to kill me. Dr. Glass's wife. This video shows evidence proving the horrific medical crimes that happened after I survived. They literally faked my x-rays and were caught doing it. And so I'm going to show the proof in there in that video of the horrific medical crimes. I believe we're going to find out I was intentionally maimed, mutilated, and dismembered in an effort to try to cover up this failed murder that was going to make the sister-in-law of the ER doctor wealthy, rich, who was my ex-wife. Of course, I didn't know that her brother-in-law was a doctor at the time. She was the one that told me the secret is a group of doctors are killing people for profit. I think they were turning me into profit. That's what it was. There was a lot of money there. She was going to get around $650,000 if her lifelong friend, Detective Rosa Rodriguez, would rule my murder an accident, right? And who would think somebody would shoot you from underground? If I was dead, no, I mean they would be laughing all the way to the bank. You can bet that's the truth, right? You can bet that our police department wouldn't be doing any investigation. Haley Dunn timeline. This is about the famous missing murdered 13-year-old cheerleader and evidence showing her connection to my home and the underground facilities. Okay, and she was nationally famous, right? A 13-year-old Colorado City, Texas cheerleader went missing a couple months after the 2010 oil shows, December 2010. And on March 14, 2013, I wrote the Department of Justice, suggested they come here and they look at the underground homes for clues in the disappearance of Haley Dunn. And 2 days later, her remains are found in Scurry County. Now there's a dozen people, 12 people documenting saying that Haley was killed and or buried over in Odessa with names, places, who, what she's wearing, all these details, right? You know, there's multiple people said it was filmed, and the cops have the films. You know, that's all part of the Haley Dunn. I think probably the cover-up to the murder of that famous missing child is because Haley has this connection to this house. It was found out her mother was a stripper, and Billy Dunn, and it makes sense that the strippers were ordered to work the oil show parties, which would have been in the underground homes right in my backyard. And since it was found out that Billy was taking Haley to the strip club with her 13-year-old daughter, then it probably makes sense she took Haley Dunn to the oil show party with her, right? Pimped her out, little kid pimped her out. And the wealthy and powerful people that were at these oil shows, right, international oil shows, they don't want anybody to ever find out that 13-year-old Haley Dunn was there with them at a sex party. Sheriff Payne, that's all speculation, but, you know, deserves investigation since there's a dozen people documented saying Haley was killed in Odessa. That's never been in the news. Sheriff Painter's hideout. Now, that's what I talked about a minute ago. Here's a sheriff candidate I secretly recorded saying our last sheriff used to hang out in these underground homes. I'm suspecting he was at the oil show parties. Why hasn't anybody been caught on camera? I just recently had this one because I'm asked this question a lot. And basically, I installed cameras. I could find proof that people were breaking my home, but I couldn't catch them on camera, you know. And finally, I proved they were hacking my cameras. But by that time, I was already crippled for life, you know. And so I've provided that proof to the FBI, to Homeland Security, to the sheriff. You know, this should be a national news story because this video right here showing the proof, there is no doubt they're hacking the cameras. And not only are they hacking the cameras, they're hacking cameras to commit horrific crimes. They're murdering people inside their homes, rigging homes, you know. Why don't you dig? Another question. Why don't you dig? Why don't you take the law in your own hands? How come you don't arrest them dozen secret police that were caught inside your home? Well, because I'm not law enforcement. That's why. Because these are armed and dangerous killers. That's why. You know, this is a national organized crime ring. You know, they got at least a dozen corrupt police work for them. They're 25 foot deep, $1 million underground facilities. I'm disabled and defenseless and on my own. That's why I don't dig. I'm calling for law enforcement, and I think the reason they don't dig is because you don't need to. All you have to do is ask all the people that said they were here where their entrances are. And so, anyways, that gives you the history. There's a little more than that about when I first moved to town from Hobbs, and I found a home over on Todd Road, and I felt like that deal got sabotaged with me. I think that was done by the crime ring. And then even one thing you'll see throw up, oh, he thinks people are breaking into his other home. And interestingly, I didn't originally think that. No, I didn't think that at all, and I'd never even heard of people breaking in the attic and tunnels and all that stuff. But what they were referring to was in 2002, my youngest daughter had noticed a light was on an attic and nobody had been up there. But I thought the ex-wife I was going through a divorce through, Cindy, was the one that had done it. And not until I found out that homes were rigged all over the country like this one that many people reporting in the attic did I think back to the Hobbs home, and I'm thinking, I bet that home was rigged. That's why. And I asked Cindy online. I said, Cindy, I know you were in my home. Did you get in the attic? And she said, I didn't get in your friggin' attic. Well, she didn't get my friggin' attic. Somebody got my friggin' attic. I'm thinking that home's rigged. And interestingly, it was built by my first in-laws, the Callaways, and they built that home and the one next to it before I moved there. And I'm thinking, I bet they know something. I bet Ann Callaway knows something about that Hobbs home being rigged. And that means she knows something. And that's why they haven't been standing, behind me. My family is because they knew these homes were rigged. This is Buddy. Talk to you later.